Hi, welcome to my first ever Facebook Live. For all of these, blah, 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 blah. See, we all stumble over our words sometimes, but we just keep on going. Welcome to my first ever Facebook Live. For any of you who are joining me now, you've now gotten to see two flubs live all at once. We continue forward. So the topic of the Facebook Live today is tips on coping with panic attacks. Because if you've experienced panic attacks, you know that they can really take over your life. Sometimes even narrowing your life down to a very small area. Oops, dropped my pen. Narrowing your life to a very small area. Some people with panic attacks find themselves also experiencing agoraphobia, which is a situation wherein you're afraid of having a panic attack, of losing control in an area where you don't feel that you can get somewhere safe. Sometimes people think of these as large areas or crowded areas, but it's really any area where you don't want to have a panic attack. So, tip number 1 for dealing with panic attacks. Know that it's gonna be okay. Now, why do I say this? Well, most of the time when you're experiencing a panic attack, you may feel like you're gonna die, or you may worry that you're gonna have a heart attack because of the anxiety and panic that you're feeling. Well, I can tell you this, panic attacks do not kill you. People say, but it feels like it's never going to end. You're right. That is how panic attacks feel. You may have sweaty palms. You may feel hot or cold. You may have your heart beating very fast. That's the sound my heart makes when I clap for a heartbeat. Also, you may feel a very significant pressure on your chest, like someone's pushing down on it. Or find that you're breathing very fast, hyperventilating, we often call it. And all of these things are a sign of a panic attack. Now, you may have heard about anxiety attacks, and anxiety attacks and panic attacks are similar. There's one main difference, which is that panic attacks come totally out of the blue. You have no idea what's caused them. So, tip number 2 for panic attacks is start noting down on a piece of paper or on your phone when they're happening and what's been going on around that time. So sometimes this can give us some ideas about what's triggering our panic attacks, what's causing them. Third tip, panic attacks are kind of like quicksand. The more you push against them, doesn't really help. Part of managing a panic attack is doing deep breathing, so helping to regulate our breath, because our breath tells our brain if we're in danger. And panic attacks are you experiencing the fight or flight response. So your brain thinks, oh my God, there's a tiger behind that tree. And so your body starts reacting in kind. And because of that, it shunts body away from our digestive system to our muscles, so we can run really fast from that tiger. And then it also takes blood away from focusing on extraneous things. So not really blood, but our attention. So you're going to be focused in on very certain details, because if you're running from a tiger, you don't want to trip over a root, but you're also not going to be able to focus on a lot of things at once. So if you find your attention focusing in, feeling really on guard, that may be the fight or flight response. Now, why did I say before that it's kind of like quicksand? Well, that's because if you keep thinking about a pink elephant, the last thing that's going to get that thought out of your head is saying to yourself, don't think about pink elephants. So, part of managing panic attacks, as I said, is deep breathing. We can call this 4 square breathing, all sorts of names for this. We're going to breathe in for the count of 4, and we're going to breathe deeply. So you can't see this, but put your hands on your abdomen, so right above your belly button. And that will help you know if you're breathing deeply. So we're going to breathe in for a count of 4. We're going to hold our breath there for a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to breathe out for a count of 4. And then you hold your breath for a count of 4 and repeat. Continue that cycle. Holding your breath, breathing in, holding your breath, breathing out, holding your breath, breathing. Now you may say, what the heck's the point of this? Well, hey Xenia, great to see you joined. So, what's the point of this? Well, by engaging in deep breathing during a panic attack, we can help to regulate our body and also help to slow down our thoughts as well. You may find your head has racing thoughts during a panic attack, and that telling yourself, quit worrying, stop panicking, isn't really helping. Well, by focusing on our breath, 1, we're focusing on something we can control in the moment, right? And it might not feel like it, which is why I suggest you put your hands on your abdomen, right above your belly button, so that you can feel yourself taking a deep breath. Because take it from me, sometimes in the middle of a panic attack, it doesn't feel like a deep breath, even when your body is telling you it's a deep breath. You just feel like you're not getting enough air. And so sometimes that results in people going, well, that doesn't help our body to regulate itself. So the calm, relaxed breathing is what I'd recommend. So I see I've been going on for almost 7 minutes now, which is way too long of a video. But if anyone watching, Xenia, anyone else would like to comment, ask a question, I'd welcome any questions you have. Additionally, keep in mind that just like any exercise or any new skill you're learning, deep breathing takes time. This is why I often recommend to clients that they find a time, one time during the day, something easy to remember, maybe right after they wake up or right before they go to work or school, to practice deep breathing for a minute or 2. Because the idea isn't just to know, oh, I should breathe deeply. But as you know, if you've experienced panic attacks, it's hard to think in those moments. And so, the more we practice, the more likely we are to think about using deep breathing in the moment. Well, again, I'm Dr. Daniel Brayman, licensed psychologist in Winter Park, Florida. Also licensed to practice in Pennsylvania and New Jersey, where I offer online teletherapy, as well as in-person therapy in my Winter Park, Florida office. Thank you, and may you find your way to the life you deserve. Now, after that nice catchphrase, I have to figure out how to actually end a Facebook Live. Oops. Oh, before I go. Okay. So, I just saw a comment that someone's here to learn. So, I'm just going to cover one more tip. I know, I told you I was going to go away. But let's review the tips we have so far. So first tip is you're not going to die during a panic attack. This is key. It sounds silly if you haven't had a panic attack, but trust me, it makes a big difference. Because even if you can just check in with yourself and say, okay, Dr. Brayman or that bearded guy online said I'm not going to die. Great. That's one less thing on your plate. Number 2 is panic attacks are kind of like quicksand. So the more you fight against it, the harder it's going to be to reduce that panic. And part of that is instead of pushing away thoughts of, oh, I don't want to panic right now, or negative thoughts of, oh, it's one of those days again. Guess we know how this is going to go. Or, I couldn't do it. I'm panicking. Why? We're just going to notice when it happens so we can start learning about that and take some deep breaths. In for 4, hold your breath for 4, out for 4. By 4, I mean I count to 4. Hold your breath for 4 and then inhale again, taking that slow cycle. And part of using your breath is practicing. Find a time once a day to just do a few deep breathing in that manner. And the reason is it'll help you to think about it in the moment. Other skills for managing panic attacks. One is recognizing that panic, it isn't something we can go around. It isn't something we can go over. It isn't something we can go under. Panic is something, a lot of the work is going through it. And so in order to do that, we have to remain present. Now, what do I mean present? Well, sometimes people are in a panic attack and they might talk to someone and say, I'm panicking right now. Oh my God, can you just talk to me? Do anything to distract me. That might get you through the moment. But the trouble is our brains learn really quickly. So what that means is by talking to someone else, having them distract us, what we're doing is we're teaching our brains avoid. Don't pay attention to what your feelings are. So in the moment of a crisis, that can be helpful. It can feel like, I just want to get through this moment. But what you know if you've had more than one panic attack is you're probably going to have another panic attack. And so focusing on the goals for the long term, which is being aware of your feelings and having a better sense of how to manage your emotions, noticing your anxiety before you experience a panic attack. These are the skills that are going to help you longer down the line, both things. So, for example, right now I can be aware that I've got a little bit of a stomach ache, a little bit of jitters from doing my first Facebook Live. So I'm going to take a deep breath. And I feel a little bit better. And the other thing I like to tell people is deep breathing isn't always going to make you feel better. It might just help to calm your breathing. You may still feel upset or stressed about whatever was causing you anxiety. But in the moment, it's going to help just bring you down that little bit. Help you feel better about going on with the rest of your day. And one thing I tell people is the goal of managing panic attacks, and this isn't great to hear, isn't that you're never going to have panic attacks. I can't give you a lobotomy. There's no technique, no method that's going to say, cut all panic out of your life. What it is going to do is it's going to put you back in the driver's seat. It's going to give you control to be able to manage and process those feelings you have. So if you do have a panic attack, some people will come in saying they have multiple a day, or they had one that lasted 20 minutes, 40 minutes, 3 hours. And people's experiences are different. But what you'll find over time is being able to do the relaxation, the breathing exercises, knowing that this isn't going to kill you. All of these things will help you to reduce the amount of time that you spend having a panic attack. And that's you. That's you who are able to do that. And gaining those skills can be a huge boost, because then the next time you have a panic attack, you don't find yourself thinking, oh boy, here's another one, or oh, I haven't done anything. But now you can think, oh, I know what to do. I'm going to do some deep breathing. And I'm not going to talk to my friend to distract me as much as that's tempting, because I know that in the long run, I'd rather be able to cope with this on my own. Don't we all want to be able to do that? Well, thank you so much, Xenia, for joining me. And I look forward to seeing you all next week for my second installment of my Facebook Live weekly series. Thank you very much. Have a good day.